Monday Night Wars podcast.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Monday Night Wars. It is November 24th, 1997, and we are live in my dad's man cave. And with me, as always, is Joseph. Oh, I'm Scott, by the way. I should mention that. Joseph, how are you?
I'm good. I'm not in your dad's man cave. I am in actually my I guess my adjacent to my kitchen because my wife is resting upstairs, and that's like right next to where I record. And I was like, yeah, maybe don't shout while she's trying to rest. So
yeah, we've both had a change of venue here. This is pretty wild stuff. Pretty wild.
Yeah.
This is a special episode. This should go on the Patreon for how special this episode is. But more importantly, we got Nitro, and we got Nitro at the Saginaw Civic Center in Saginaw, Michigan. And I think Simon and Garfunkel wrote about Saginaw. Didn't they write about Saginaw Island and Coming to America? I don't know. It's great. It's a great song. Listen to it. Anyways, let's get into it. We are post World War III, which before this episode, I said, Joseph, did we do World War III? Because I've already forgotten everything. But let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. We open things up, and I know you're excited because we open things up the only way WCW knows how, with the NWO. So tell me about this and the giant story that won't stop because Kevin Nash don't show up.
Yeah, the NWO gloat about their win yesterday because Scott Hall technically won World War III. Hogan says that he is confident that he will put up the title against anyone tonight. So he's so confident. Whoever they want, whoever wants to face him, he will put up the title. Well, answered the call is the Giant. And he's like, look, you laid the gauntlet down, I'm picking it up. But the Giant is hurt, technically, even though they just let him compete in World War III. J.J. Dillon says, well, no, you're too hurt and you're not medically cleared. So again, 24 hours ago, same injury, let him compete in World War III. 24 hours later, he's like, nah, you're hurt. You can't medically compete. Okay, so Giant says, I'll sign any waiver you want. J.J. Dillon agrees, and then the match is on. Not my least favorite NWO opener. Actually, some stuff moves forward. It gives you hype for the end of the card because you're going to get a title match. Of course, that title match will be what it's going to be. But I actually kind of enjoyed this one, so I gave this one a B.
Again, I'm sure I've said it before about this very storyline. I kind of like the idea of this storyline, but they're gonna do it bad. That's how this works. Yeah. I'm like, I'm interested, but you're gonna do it terribly. Yeah. And this also does bring a point. Yeah, the logical inconsistencies of it, where he was fine to wrestle World War III, but not fine to wrestle here, which would have created a great opportunity at World War III to where his music hits. He's coming. And he comes through the curtain, and like there's EMTs or medical people like, no, you can't go. And he like just shoves them all aside, like throws them. Like that would have been a good bit, right? You're not supposed to, and just like hurls them, right? It would have been good, but we don't do that. We don't think these things through because if it's not a vehicle for Hogan, we don't care.
Yeah.
Speaking of not a vehicle for Hogan or anyone. The Steiner brothers beat the crap out of disorderly conduct who don't even have a link on the wiki for 3 minutes and 40 seconds for the tag team titles.
What? Yeah, we have not seen them once. They easily get squashed. It's a C. There's it's just a squash match. There's nothing to write home about. It is what it is.
It's crazy. The only one and so on the wiki, right, they have disorderly conduct, which doesn't have a link. And then they have it broken up into who they are, which is Mean Mike and Tom Tough. And Mean Mike does actually have a link, but Tom Tough doesn't. Apparently, Mean Mike is Michael Richards, not the comedian. Mike Tatum, otherwise known as Blackjack Bennett, Juice, Mike Moran, Mike Richards, Psycho, and Hangman, Texas Hangman #1. So, a storied and vaunted career of people I've never heard of on top of people
Absolutely.
I've never heard of. Yeah, for the titles. For the titles. The only thing that can cleanse my palate from that, Joseph, is the Nitro Girls. Mm, 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 mm. We still got it, man. We still got it. And then we got Booker T.
I
Because let me
like
have
how I
this.
like how neither of us is trying to be like loud because like you're trying to be
Yeah,
respectful of being at your dad's
yeah,
place. I'm trying to be respectful of my
yeah.
wife sleeping, and we're both just it's a very chill episode today.
This is gonna be a muted one. Yeah, this is the pot that you all gonna put on when you're trying to get to sleep, when you're like,
Yeah,
"I just need to put something on to get to sleep." I'm gonna put on the Monday Night Wars podcast, as we know you all do, to help you get off to slumberland. This is the
yeah.
one for you guys. But yeah, minus the Nitro Girls, no storylines happen, and we go straight into Booker T versus Meng, and it's 2 minutes, 56 seconds, which is not a squash match, but also Booker
No,
T and Meng going for
it's a
less
it's
than 3 minutes seems like a waste of a good
this is
match.
this is
Tell
a
me, Joseph.
very this is a very WCW kind of match these days. Like everything is under 3 minutes. They're just whatever. Booker T
Yeah.
does win with a roll up, so Meng responds with the Tongan death grip on him. Stevie Ray runs in, breaks a
Mhm,
chair over Meng, which is actually
mhm.
an objectively very cool spot. It's a wooden chair, breaks it over him.
Yeah. Gnarly.
Barbarian attacks Stevie, and the heels stand tall going into commercial. Hey, actually, we have a tag team rivalry, which we have not had. We've had the Faces of Fear going against Glacier and freaking Ernest the Cat, which has been wild. So it's kind of nice to see a tag team rivalry. Oh, I gave this one a B.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, oh, you know, we got a rivalry in the tag team division. Kind of exciting. Not for the titles, but, it's fine. I mean, in theory, we have a rivalry for the titles. It's the Outsiders and the Steiner brothers, but the NWO don't wrestle. So, you know, it's fine. Uh, then we get a recap of World War III with JJ Dillon and Raven. Apparently, Raven has been, well, he hasn't even really been wrestling. He's just been in the building without a contract. And if he did not sign a contract, JJ Dillon was going to throw him out. I mean, man got tickets. Why are you going to kick him out? But I guess he's in now. I guess he's in.
Yeah,
And now JJ
yeah.
and
Gene wants to know about this
Gene got to talk to him
ultimatum.
again? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. So, yeah, this was on World War III, which geez, I can't believe I remember this. And he was like, if you don't sign a contract in the next 24 hours, then we're done and you're no longer allowed to appear on Nitro, which like also was like a 7-month later ultimatum, which is hilarious because that's very JJ
Mhm.
Dillon.
Yeah.
So Gene wants to know about this ultimatum. They talk to Raven, and then Scotty Riggs, comes out of nowhere, and he's got an eye patch, and he just joins Raven's flock. Okay.
Yeah.
Raven says he signed the contract, but he won't conform to their rules. He'll sit where he wants, wrestle who he wants, when he wants, and under his own rules for what he wants. And then JJ's just like, I don't like it, but that's okay. Of course you are, JJ. Of course that's just your answer to it.
Yeah.
This gets a D. It's so sloppy. It's like the whole Raven thing has been just a complete mess.
But on the plus side, he's signed. He's now a wrestler for WCW, so we get to see him in his first match. Chris Benoit versus Raven. This is exciting, Joseph. 3 minutes, 36 seconds. Tell me about Chris Benoit versus Raven.
Raven decides no, I said when I want to wrestle. So he doesn't wrestle. He makes Sick Boy wrestle instead. Benoit hits a diving headbutt and he fights off the flock, then locks in the Crippler Crossface for the win. Then the flock beat him up, and we go back to Saturn versus Benoit, which is like, okay, so is it Saturn versus Benoit or is it Raven versus Benoit? We really don't know. The crowd chants Raven sucks, and honestly, I think this is go away heat because he has been just a mess on screen. The match
Mhm.
itself is actually quite good. I'm giving this match a B, but it is everything surrounding it is a complete travesty.
It's nuts. The whole thing is nuts. I would also like to know that you always go, "Oh, you spoiled the surprise." I didn't spoil it this time, did I,
That's true.
bucko? In your face. But yeah, as you mentioned, Benoit then gets beaten up by the Flock. He gets put in the rings of Saturn. I actually like that storyline better than Raven versus Benoit because then it's like the battle of the submissions, that's an interesting angle. We'll do it poorly. So who cares? Who
Yeah.
cares? Speaking of who cares, NWO versus Zabisco hype video. Uh, do we need to say anything more about this? Because it's really just a hype video
No,
about
no, it
this
goes right
rivalry.
into a Larry Zabisco promo. So yeah,
Well, tell us about the Larry Zabisco promo, Joseph.
Larry
What
calls
a
the
segue.
NWO idiots and says he's had it. Yeah, he calls the NWO idiots and says he's had it with Hall and he wants him to accept his challenge. NWO music hits and propaganda falls from the ceiling. It's photos of Bischoff standing over Larry Zabisco. Larry says he won't leave until Hall comes out, and then Bischoff arrives laughing. He says that Hall is too busy to wrestle Larry. He says Larry was never that good and he can't even beat Bischoff. So Zabisco challenges Bischoff, and Bischoff verbally accepts. And Zabisco heads to him, but is held back by security. This,
Yeah.
unfortunately, the Larry Zabisco Scott Hall rivalry we thought we were going to get has now transitioned because Bischoff absolutely is just he likes his own flavor. Let's put it that way. And
Mhm.
this is going to become. I gave this segment a C because it's in a vacuum. It's okay. It's going to get really bad, and yeah. So here we go. Buckle up, everybody.
Yeah, well, this is just another example of you and I were kinda hot on this. We were kinda like, "Hey, we kinda like this Larry Zabisco Scott Hall thing." And now that we've seen what happens, we're not into it. Not at all, because it's a typical
Yeah,
WCW story with a typical WCW finish. Prince Iaukea, who we haven't seen in a while, so that's kinda cool, versus Alex
mhm.
Wright. I kinda don't know who I was kinda excited about this one because I don't actually know who's gonna win this because I feel like they've both kinda just been relegated to being jobbed out. 3 minutes, 16 seconds.
Yeah. Iakea actually wins this one with a crossbody when
Mhm.
Alex Wright is accidentally distracted by Deborah. The two start yelling at each other post-match, and Alex Wright grabs a mic and he fires Deborah. For that, I'm going to give it a C because thank God they're no longer together. But this is to be fair, decent TV match,
Mhm.
and I'll give it that.
Yeah, the storyline angle we actually needed. We needed this. We needed Alex Wright to fire Deborah. Well, because it makes no sense anymore. Like, what is the
Hmm.
purpose of this? Like, when he had the goal, like, because they were doing a gold digger angle with her, right? Like, they
Right.
were. She went with the gold. She followed the gold. He doesn't have the gold anymore. Okay, well, now he's in a rivalry with Mongo, her husband. That's the angle. That's why she's with him. And now he's not. So, like, there's no reason for her to be with him. We gotta break them up. We gotta let Alex fly on his own, and just and so I'm so glad that he's with Eric Bischoff because Eric Bischoff recognizes what a great talent he is and is really gonna give him the push he needs to be successful. And we love to see it. We love it. Speaking though, well, I guess that I'm gonna segue. I'm gonna come back to something, then I'm gonna segue because we're not gonna talk about it. Speaking of the push he needs, Disco Inferno's in the next match because we love Disco Inferno and we love him getting booked to the moon. We don't though. That's a lie. I'm kidding for those who may be tuning in for the first time. We don't like Disco Inferno. But Disco Inferno versus the Macho Man Randy Savage for 2 minutes 16 seconds. But before we get into that, Joseph, I do want to mention before this, because I didn't want to interrupt my segue, there was a video package on Sting versus Hogan to get you hyped for Starrcade. I don't really think anything needs to be mentioned about it because it's just a video package of Sting versus Hogan to get you ready for the greatest match of all time. But I'll let you if you want to, and then you can talk about Disco Inferno and the Macho Man.
Well, I'm gonna go right into Disco Inferno versus Macho Man because it's just a hype
I knew you
package.
would.
I'm not gonna talk about a hype package.
Mhm.
Mach hits multiple elbows for the win, and then hits more post match. Then he spray paints on
Mhm.
Disco. That's it. Gave it a B because it's nice to see Disco get his ass beat, but other than that, it's not great.
Did Disco get jobbed out? Is this the end of Disco?
Uh, it's not the end because he's gonna be around for many years, but he absolutely got jobbed out here.
And
I
I
think
meant
this was Mach being like, I am not putting this dude over.
good for him. Good for him because I respect Mach on this one because Disco need to stop. Yeah, Disco, though,
Yeah.
gonna be around, till the end of the company, right? Because WWF notoriously does
Mhm.
not sign him. I guess not notoriously correctly, but it's a thing. They do not sign him. And I Mandela affect him
Correct.
thinking he had the heavyweight title at some point, but he doesn't. He never does. So at least they don't give us that injustice in his long and storied
Right.
career at WCW. And speaking of long and storied careers at WCW, Brad Armstrong, he's in a match
Mhm.
versus Dean Malenko. Oh God, Brad. 5 minutes, 27 seconds. A long match for Brad to get destroyed.
Yeah. Brad Armstrong will actually have a long and storied run in WCW, and it's
Mhm.
hilariously bad. And I say that not criticizing Brad Armstrong. I actually really like Brad Armstrong. I say that criticizing WCW because they see what his brother is doing in WWF, and they go, "Hmm, what if you did that?" And it's really quite funny. Dean Malenko, in a bad way. Dean Malenko absolutely wins this competitive bout, which it is competitive with Texas Cloverleaf, but there's no storyline going in here. It gets a B. It's a fun match, but it's nothing more than a TV match.
Fans don't like it though. People in the audience, they're chanting boring because
Which
I
is
think it's
wild.
because they're
WCW fans
yeah.
think some really good stuff is boring.
Well, yeah, and it's like, okay, 'cause it is a cruiserweight match, right? And that's kinda what it's billed as. And so I guess maybe they were expecting flippy shit, but then when they have flippy shit, they don't seem to care either. Like, I don't know what
Yeah.
WCW fans want because they don't like the Lucha Libre stuff, like, they're dead when that stuff happens, and they're also dead when you have just a great, like, classic wrestling, submission holds, and all that kinda stuff. I don't know what they want. I don't think they know what they want. But I kn
Mm.
but I know what I want, and I want a Mongo promo because that's what I need. I need a Mongo Goldust Deborah promo. Tell me about this one, Joseph.
Oh my god. Deborah comes out and wants to get back with Mongo. She says she will do whatever it takes, which they then love to play with. And it's like, "Oh my god."
Anything?
And then Mongo tells her to get the hell out of here. It's embarrassing. It gets a D. What is this doing on my TV screen?
I'll tell you what this is doing on your TV screen. The Nitro Girls! Mm, 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 mm. Buff Bagwell, Chris Jericho. Let me check that time. 6 minutes, 58 seconds. I didn't have a segue for that.
I appreciate the honesty.
You're welcome.
Jericho gets mad at Bagwell for not catching him when he dives outside the ring, so he slaps the shit out of him, which made me audibly laugh. Because yeah, catch the fucking opponent, dude. Be there.
Yeah.
You're putting your life in their hands. You got to be there. Bagwell eventually wins with a blockbuster. It's sloppy as hell, and frankly, the wrong man won. I gave it a C.
Yeah, that again, you're right. I think, that's kinda highlight of the match is that, Bagwell misses his spot. Jericho could have been seriously injured. He's very upset about it and, proceeds to, make it very clear to Buff how upset he is about it. Buff, not a good wrestler, so this is kind of not surprising that he botched a spot, but yeah, kinda wild. Kinda wild. And speaking of kinda wild, Ray Traylor,
Mhm,
who has proceeded to get his ass beat over and over and over again by the NWO,
mhm.
gets a title shot at the WCW United States Heavyweight Championship against Kurt Hennig for 6 minutes and 31
Yeah.
seconds. Why? What was the buildup for this?
Yeah, and not only does he repeatedly get his ass beat, he continues to. He hits the Big Boss Slam that I
Mhm.
already forgot what they're calling it, and clearly Scott
Trailer
Hall is
trash.
supposed to break up the pin, but he is late on his cue, so Hennig has to kick out himself. Hall then attacks Trailer, and this results in a DQ, and then the NWO beat him up. This time they don't have spray paint, so they use Sharpie instead, which made me laugh because how stupid it is. I gave this an F. I actually really hate every single thing about this.
Did Macho I've already forgotten, I have to scroll back up. Did Macho spray paint Disco? No, he
Yeah.
didn't. Didn't someone get spray painted already on
Yes.
the
No, he's spray painted
Okay.
Disco. He's spray
So
painted Disco. Yeah.
okay. So he must have just used it all. He hates Disco so much that he used all of the spray paint on Disco. Just all of
The
it.
entire
Just
cache of spray
completely, like
paint. Yeah.
yeah, they were out. They were out, so we had to use Sharpies. And the Sharpies don't really work all that well. It's so bad. It's so bad.
Yeah.
And that brings us to our main event, if you can call it that. This is
Yep.
The Giant versus Hollywood Hulk Hogan for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. And by telling you who's in this match, you already know what's going to happen because there is no way Hollywood Hogan is dropping the title on a Monday night, and there's no way he's dropping it to the Giant. So tell me how they figured out how to give Hogan the win, and then again, Hogan has to get the win, but Giant has to still look powerful because he's got a rivalry here that we're building to. So how do they
Right.
thread this needle of shit, Joseph?
Well, first off, Bischoff and Rick Rude take over commentary. Bischoff
Of course.
buries the actual WCW Tag Team Champions, calling the belts dull and frauds. Fake Sting shows up
Mm.
again and again. It's Kevin Nash who attacks Giant's broken hand for the DQ. The rest of the NWO come out and attack him as well. Then another fake Sting comes down and falls through the ring. It's just a dummy in Sting gear. The NWO hit the dummy with
Yeah.
a bat and taunt it as we close the show. This is horrible. I gave this a D. It is just the show was like kind of middle ground, and then it just freaking fell off a cliff. It is so bad.
Yes. And the dummy, they love the dummy thing so much they're going to do it several times, you know? And so
They've already done it before.
it's yeah, but they're gonna do it even more. It's just they keep doing it. Um, yeah, and I thought this they finally do this idea. Um, because I'm trying to remember, this is the one where it goes into the mat, right? Like, it goes through the mat.
Yeah.
I'm thinking this is the one where it
Yes.
goes in like, it actually, like, breaks the ring and
Yeah. Yeah.
goes
Yeah.
like, gets
Yeah.
stuck
Yeah.
in the mat. And I feel like there was something that was supposed to happen there. You can kinda see it, like, getting jerked around like there's someone under there. 'Cause I'm like, "Oh, this is gonna be funny." Like, they're gonna pull the dummy out, and it's gonna be and, like, they're gonna be messing with the "Ha it's Sting," and then, like, Sting's under the ring and, like, pulls Hulk Hogan or somebody in under the ring. That'd be a great idea, right? And I want to believe that that's what they were going to do and didn't. I want to believe.
Right.
Probably
Right.
not, but I want to believe. And what else I wanna believe in is that Raw will be better than what we just watched, because it has to be, because I can't do this anymore. November 24th, 1997, at the Cumberland County Memorial Auditorium in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and we got a Raw. Let's get Raw, Joseph, because I like it raw.
Mhm.
I used all the slogans. Rick Rude, he's here. His music hits, but he's
Yes.
in WCW.
Yes.
What is going on, Joseph? Explain this to me.
This is fantastic. I love this. Also, you were saying that you want to believe, that you want to believe. You said that
Mhm.
repeatedly. And much
Yeah.
much like wanting to believe, we have the DX files here. Anyways,
Oh.
Harvey Whippleman comes out as Rick Rude, complete with the same suit, Halliburton, music, even a pretty
Mhm.
decent Rick Rude impression, and he introduces D-Generation X. HBK says, well, Lord knows that was a tough spot to fill, and then he throws down Harvey Whippleman, and I laugh because it's true. Rick Rude today is a shell of himself, and DX acknowledging his absence and buried him without having to dwell on it. It's honestly great. HBK says he and Bret have had the problems, but never did he think it would come down to this. The crowd chants, you suck, you suck. HBK tells Bret and the world that he takes full responsibility for what happened at Survivor Series. The world should know that Bret Hart is still under contract to the World Wrestling Federation until November 30th. This is being said to douse the WCW flames that they've been starting over there with, oh, we got Bret Hart. Yes, but not for a month. HBK says Bret
Mhm.
Hart deserved better. He says Vin Man and the WWF deserved better. He wants everyone to know, as God is his witness, Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels have finally had contact with each other, and without anyone's knowledge. No one knows about this. And he says he contacted Bret, and they have an arrangement and an agreement. Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels
Oh.
tonight will settle this once and for all. He tells Bret it's up to him. It can end with a handshake or a fight. The fact of the matter is, they will face off and end their controversy once and for all. And the crowd loves it. And I love it because there's no way this is going to happen. And he is absolutely playing all of them. And it's great heel stuff. I gave it an A. I love it so much.
I'm I don't after hearing this, I don't understand why Sean gets such a bad rap at this time because I feel like he's doing the right thing here. He's making amends. He and Brett gonna bury
Absolutely.
the hatchet tonight on Raw. Man, good guy
Beautiful.
Sean. I tell you, I'm saying it right now, everyone's been wrong about him. Everyone's been wrong about him. It's official.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll
absolutely.
see. After that, we got the tag team champions, the Legion of Doom versus
Mm,
the Road Dogg, Jesse James, and the badass Billy Gunn, the New Age Outlaws.
mhm.
Because LOD they want these guys bad. So bad, we got our match. And the match is, Joseph, since you're begging, you gotta know, how long does this bad boy go? Well, it goes 9 minutes, 23 seconds. It's a long one. Tell me.
It is. The New Age Outlaws finally have their music and the "Oh, you didn't know, your ass better call somebody" slogan. They
Mhm.
come out in LOD spikes, and LOD immediately attacks them. LOD starts the match by crushing the Outlaws. With refs distracted, Road Dogg nails Hawk with the belt, but Hawk kicks out, which I was actually really happy about because I thought that was kind of a cheap way to finish it. LOD then goes for the Doomsday Device, but the ref still knocked out. Road Dogg hits Animal with a chair, and Billy Gunn rolls him up while another ref runs in and counts to 3. And we have new WWF Tag Team Champions. And the Outlaws don't stick around. They run out the building and speed away, almost slamming into a limousine, one that commentary suspects is Bret Hart. It's a really,
Mhm.
really fun match. I love the fact that they absolutely were like, we're getting out of Dodge. I think that's great. That I gave this a B
Yes.
plus. It's very on brand with what the Outlaws have been doing, which is winning matches in stupid ways intentionally and then being like, deuces, everybody, we're out. I loved it.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, Mysterious Limousine, I tell you, this era and Mysterious Limousines, love them, love all of them. Hopefully, this one doesn't explode, but we'll see. Who knows? Uh, we come back from commercial, and LOD is still wrecking havoc. They're beating up security guards. They don't wanna leave. They're still mad. Uh, but that also leads us to Goldust in a wheelchair for an interview. Tell me about it, Joseph.
Yes.
I'm worried.
Yeah, Michael Cole interviews him, and Dustin, like you said, is in a wheelchair, calling himself an invalid, which apparently is now a very offensive way to say someone who
Oh,
is I don't know, crippled is the best way I can describe it, but someone who cannot walk and things like that.
You're teaching me a new thing. I
Appar
didn't know that.
Yeah, I found that out 'cause I didn't know how to spell invalid, so I looked it up, and then it was like, "By the way, just so you know, offensive term nowadays." Good to know. Goldust says because of his broken wrist, and I actually did objectively love this part. It's the only part I loved. Because of his broken wrist, it's made him a paraplegic and even a quadriplegic, which is just great.
Yes.
Just great science.
That's crazy.
He
Yeah.
has a nurse who's rubbing his shoulders, which he can feel, by the way, even though he's apparently a quadriplegic. And
Yeah. Yeah.
then he starts talking in a lisp. Get it? Because he's gay. Vader comes down and is pissed, saying there is nothing wrong with Goldust. He threatens Goldust, and then the nurse splashes alcohol in Vader's eyes. The nurse unmasks, and it's Luna Vachon. Her and Goldust
Oh,
attack Vader, and Luna says the bitch is back. It was a swerve, bro. You could tell this is
love it.
Vince Russo booking. You could so fucking tell
Is
this is
it?
Vince Russo. It's so bad. I gave it a D.
And it only gets worse from here. This will be a low point for Goldust, and
Yeah.
it makes us mad every time we see him because we
Yeah.
love Goldust, and to do this is bad. Yeah, and I guess JR talks about how Goldust left his family for this, and it's like, no, don't
hmm
do any of it. Don't do any of it. After that, we get another shot of the limo. You know, what's going on with these limo? I gotta know who's in the limo. And then we get a Sergeant Slaughter hype package. That man was good. You got anything more to add?
No, it goes right into it, much like the hype package we talked about earlier. It goes right into a promo with Sergeant Slaughter. Michael Cole interviews him, and he asks if Slaughter ever thought the job could come to this. Slaughter says it isn't DX's attacks on him that caused this. He got up from those. It was crossing the line with his wife. He says, "You won't fight Commissioner
Mhm.
Slaughter. You will be fighting Sergeant Slaughter." Then he cuts a promo as the sergeant, and it's pretty cool watching him instantly
Yeah,
turn into the character. He decides on December 7th, it will be Slaughter Rules, making their match a boot camp match, which is just a no DQ match, but they call it
yeah,
something fun. Sergeant Slaughter starts asking if Triple H ever faced real life war scenarios that are horrible but harsh realities. It's important to note here that Sergeant Slaughter was never in the military and also never faced these things. So I just need to get out in front of that because he goes into hard, like really, really gruesome detail about like watching your friends die next to you and stuff. And it's like, bro, you never fucking experienced that. Shut up.
yeah, but
Anyways,
he saw it in, like, Platoon and shit, so
absolutely, absolutely. Um, and what's funny is most of his like things that he brings up are very clearly movie references.
yeah.
Anyways, I gave this a C. It is fun in parts, but then the end, I was like, yeah, maybe don't steal that valor, bro.
Yeah, he very clearly starts referencing, like, Vietnam movies, and it's like,
Yes.
this is nuts. This
Yeah.
is nuts. Speaking of nuts, we got the WWF Light Heavyweight Title Tournament quarterfinals with Brian Christopher and Flash Flanagan,
hmm
otherwise known as just Flanagan, and it's
Yeah.
3 minutes and 30 seconds. Tell me, Joseph.
Yeah. Brian Christopher, sorry, gets help from his dad, Jerry the King, and hits his diving leg drop for the win. It's a very simple match. Honestly, kind of a squash match, which is odd for a tournament. Gave it a C. It is what it is.
After that, we get to start hour number 2, our confrontation between DX and Bret Hart. Tell me about this, Joseph. I am just waiting with bated breath to see this confrontation that we've all been waiting for.
Yes. Well, before we get into that, we start with Triple H actually referencing Sergeant Slaughter and his shtick. And he says it's the same one he watched when he was a kid and he isn't scared of it. Then he calls
Mm.
Fort Bragg a bunch of G.I. Janes and calls himself the sergeant with the purple helmet who will sleep with all of their wives.
Oh, wow.
HBK finally calls out Bret Hart to the ring. And then, excuse me, a midget Bret Hart comes to the ring and
Oh,
Triple H
no.
taunts Him saying Bret was short on charisma. They didn't know he was short on stature. Triple H breaks
That's a
down the
good line.
Survivor Series match as Sean play wrestles mini Bret Hart. And I shouldn't like this as much as I do, but I do. They slap a WCW sign on Mini Hart's ass and kick him out. And then Jim the Anvil Neidhart comes out pissed and calls DX low life scum and says that he will kick their butt. And HBK says, look, Bret never gave you any opportunities or shots the entire time he was on top of the card. And HBK points out that the two men made up the Hart Foundation. It was not just Bret, it was Bret and Jim the Anvil. But when they came to WF, and that Jim was the superior Hart in his opinion, and that Bret abandoned him. HBK wants to know where the other Harts are, because there's no Owen, there's no Davey Boy. Where's everybody else? They all abandoned you too. Points out that Jim is all alone, but HBK will give him a chance by letting Jim the Anvil Neidhart join and become part of DX. This is an interesting little wrinkle. I like it. It's not as good as the initial promo to start the event, but I gave this one a B.
You know, they're making points. They're making points. I also imagine this whole thing has to really piss off Jim the Anvil Neidhart.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because he leaves. He eventually does leave. And so I imagine this angle is very annoying to him.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, we get to see what you and I have been waiting for. And it's the winner of the what it was the when was it? Was it Survivor Series that they did the winner?
Yeah.
Gets to have dinner with a person of their choice, a wrestler of their choice, and they chose Stone Cold Steve Austin. And we got Stone Cold Steve Austin eating dinner with a random family. I love it. What do you think, Joseph?
It is as absurd as you would expect it to be. That's all I've got on it.
It's good. After that, we get a package of Butterbean. Or Butterball. I don't remember.
Butterbean.
But
yeah.
They're hyping that because he's gonna fight Mark Marrow, and I don't care for it. You got anything to add for the package?
Yeah, me
Should we
too.
get into our next part?
No. Roll
Ken
right
Shamrock Savio Vega. It's let me check how many minutes it is. 5 minutes, 20 seconds. Cool.
Yeah, Savio attacks Shamrock mid-entrance, but Shamrock wins this one pretty easily with the ankle lock, and the crowd loves it. The crowd is very hot on Shamrock, so gave this one a C. It's a good TV match. I'll give it that. I mean, I don't dislike Savio Vega. I don't like his faction, but that's not a slight on him.
I actually kind of like Savio. We had some fun with Savio, but Savio isn't. He's not doing it anymore. They've relegated him to losing, and that's what he does. After that, though, we get what is it? The formative years of The Rock, right? We get another moment in The Rock's formative years where the Nation comes out to the ring, and Rocky Maivia takes the mic away from Michael Cole, and he's looking good, and we are starting to get The Rock, my friend, are we not?
Yeah. Yes, The Rock grabs the mic from Michael Cole, calls him a jabroni for the very first time. He calls himself the people's champion for the very first time. He says his match against Austin will be on his terms. Rocky Sucks appears on the Titantron, and the crowd chants to it. The lights go out, and he tells the Nation to go fix technical problems, and they all do, including Farouk's. The Nation really is the Rock's now. Austin is in the control room and says Rocky's only going to be on TV tonight if Stone Cold wants him to be there. I'm calling all the shots, I'm pushing all the buttons, and I'm going to tell you something right now. When you're walking through the airport and your beeper goes off, we may need to explain beepers to children, by the way. But anyways, we'll go beyond that. When your beeper goes off, you look at it and it says 316. You know your ass belongs to Stone Cold. You got to wonder, is it live or is it Memorex? Another reference, just Jesus, referring to himself on screen. The Nation run in, so Austin appears behind The Rock because clearly this was recorded ahead of time. He appears behind The Rock and slugs him and he just starts swinging. The Nation run in, so Austin grabs chair and the Nation leave, but The Rock still has a title that does not belong to him. And then Austin says, you take your little belt, go home, have yourself a good Thanksgiving, but here's a little bird for you right now. And then he flips off The Rock, and it's fantastic, and I gave it an A.
It's great. Yeah, and I guess I should explain because I'm the old man of the pod. Uh, Beepers were how you used to get text messages before they figured out how to do that on the phone,
Yeah.
on the cell phone. So you get a beeper. It would tell you to call. It would usually tell you to like call a number, and then you'd call
Yes.
the number, and there'd be a message on the
Yeah.
number. But that's all it really was. I think doctors still kind of use them just
Yes.
because they're like really convenient for like they'll send you like a some numbers and you'll know kind of, oh, I gotta go to the ER for
Mhm.
something. They'll still use them there because I think it's just convenient because they can hit you anywhere and they can hit you with the information really fast, saves time. But yeah, it used to be the text messaging before the text messaging.
Yeah.
And then Memorex is just they're a cassette company. They make
Yeah.
cassettes and CDs. I mean, they did all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So it's videotapes and things. But yeah, you all wouldn't know that because what's a videotape? Oh my God, the kids these days. Speaking of the kids these days, Crush versus Jeff Jarrett. Well, man, I hate this. I don't want this match to happen, Joseph. It's so bad.
Well, Scott, you're in luck because Jarrett says
Oh,
he was born ready to wrestle, but he is rereading his contract, which clearly states his stipulations that Vin Man has
mhm.
not met. He says no one wants to see
Oh,
him wrestle a grease monkey like Chains. It's actually
fair.
Crush, but who cares? If you want to see Jeff Jarrett wrestle, reread the contract and live up to your end of the bargain. Crush wins via forfeit, and then Kane's music hits, fire erupts, and Kane walks to the ring and chokeslams Crush and then tombstones him. The DOA rescue Crush, and Kane chokeslams Gerald Briscoe. I think this is their way of writing Crush off TV because he gets injured and he's gone. I
Mhm.
don't know if he actually comes back. I know he quits the company in
Yeah.
protest. So I think this is how this happens. Um, I like the Kane wrinkle. The Jeff
Yeah.
Jarrett stuff will actually become kind of fun, and then they're going to blow it, which is like, I think I know why, but we'll get to that at the pay per view. Anyways, I gave this one a D.
Yeah, I like Jeff Jarrett. I like that he didn't know Crush's name and confuse the two because that's how unimportant he is, right?
Yeah.
They're
Oh,
burying
yeah.
Crush here because, as
Yes.
you said, Crush leaves in protest of the Montreal Screwjob and what they did to Bret Hart because he was a Bret Hart boy, and so that's where we're at. But I, and I do kind of wonder though if the plan was to have them both get choke slammed, and Jeff Jarrett was like, "That don't work for me, brother." Which if that
Maybe.
happened. If that happened respectfully, I think Jeff Jarrett was right? Because that would not be good for Jeff Jarrett's character right now for story purposes. So maybe they didn't do it, but if they did, it wouldn't have been good. But that leads us to our moment where we get to find out whether or not Jim the Anvil Neidhart has joined D Generation X. It is our main event.
Yes.
And I'm gonna say no more, Joseph. I will give you the time because I don't want to spoil anything. You'll go, well, you spoil everything. 3 minutes. I'm not even tell you who he's wrestling. You tell me, Joseph. I want to know all about this.
Well, HBK is going up against Vader, and he introduces the new DX member, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, who comes out with them. Vader's eye is taped up after the earlier attack from Goldust and Luna, which I like. Triple H throws coffee on Vader's good eye, which is also funny. HBK switches musics him to the back of his head and then to the front and pins him 1, 2, 3. Jim Neidhart celebrates with DX, and then China low blows the Anvil, and DX beat the hell out of him, and Shawn
Oh,
Michaels sweet chin musics him. They continue to attack until HBK calls himself the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be, and HBK says DX rules the wrestling world. Honestly, not my favorite segment. I gave this one a C. I think it was a little bit unnecessary and kind of clearly just
yes.
a way to job out Jim the Anvil, which I don't think needed to happen.
No.
It actually kind of would have been a little bit fun if they actually had Jim the Anvil in DX for a minute and actually like did something with that. Also,
Yeah.
there is a storyline here of there are still some Harts in WWF. This will come to play at Generation X, the pay-per-view. And I think they could have built better to that, and they're not doing a good job with it. But we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah, I didn't think Jim. Yeah, it's clearly just jobbing Jim out. It's humiliating him, really humiliating him and the Harts and all that, which is the point, right? That's the storyline, right? It's humiliating the Harts, humiliating Bret, and all of that. But it's like it seemed unnecessary, as you said. I think I would have preferred it that Jim the Anvil Neidhart was pretending to be in DX and then like swerved them. He's the one that ends up attacking them, and Owen's there, and then we've got a rivalry, right? Like DX needs a rivalry, and so it's like who's DX versus who's left of the Hearts, which we kind of get at DX in your house DX, but like we could start it now to get people kind of excited for the pay-per-view. Oh shit, Owen's back, Jim's with him. If Bulldog's still here, I don't know if he is, but if he's still here, Bulldog, whoever, it could be interesting. But instead, they just job Jim out to humiliate the Hearts and Bret, and it's just kind of sad.
It is.
Yeah, I was just kind of like, oh, don't do that to Jim. Come on. But that brings us to the end of the night. Who won, Joseph? Who won this week in the Monday Night War?
This is easily WWF Raw. It's so much more fun. The storylines are so much more interesting. Even with the Jim Anvil Neidhart stuff that we don't overly love, and also the Goldust stuff that we hate, it's not boring. It's not boring. Even the bad stuff is not boring. It's just like, why are you doing this? But it isn't boring. It's got to go to Raw.
I'm currently scrolling WCW. It was like, is there a match I liked?
Well, you're scrolling because you've already forgotten what happened on that show.
Yeah, that's how good it was. I don't really think there was a match that like really stood out to me as like that's a great match on Nitro tonight. Where we had some fun ones on WWF. Even if it was a lot of jobbing stuff, but Billy Gunn Road Dogg and the Legion, that was fun. I like this. I like the DX storyline that kind of flows through the entire night. As we said, we don't really like the jobbing poor Jim out and humiliating him. But other than that, yeah, I think Raw wins it, even though it as always pains me to admit it. That does it. That does it for us. That does it. That does it for November 24th, 1997. We've got one more week, and then we've got In Your House DX, right? We've got one more week of
Correct.
Monday Night War programming, and then we've got In Your House DX. I don't remember if it's fun or not. I just don't remember anymore. Is it fun, Joseph?
It's kind of middle of the pack. It's not perfect at all.
All right, give us $2 a month to listen to our middle of the pack review of In Your House DX. We always make it fun though, even during our more muted commentary like tonight. And you're all probably asleep now because you've put it on at bedtime. So good night, everybody.
But if you're not asleep, I just
ended it, bro.
Have a happy. Well, hold on. If you're not asleep, have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
That's beautiful, man. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Ronnie's what is Thanksgiving? Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.